Hi there. 𝓚𝓚 here, the Twisted Light Worker. MK Ultra brainwashing techniques. The roots run deep, run really deep. And they run way back in history. Way back in history, where the control of the masses, the plan to do so began. The Khazarian Mafia. All that's behind them goes way back to the Egyptian times. Thou shalt not talk about politics. Thou shalt not talk about religion. Those are two MK Ultra techniques of dividing and controlling the masses. Let me share with you what I mean by that. How can not talking about those two things control us? First off, you have to remember that thoughts are things. EEG machines prove that. Hook you up to it, put the electrodes on your head. They can monitor your brain waves. Those brain waves, unbeknownst to the science so far, radiate out from us and to the ends of the universe, like ripples in a pond. The ripples in the ether is what they are. Those two subjects are the most important subjects there is to bring us together. The most important subjects to bring us together. Because they're the only subjects from the North Pole to the South Pole that have the potential of creating a harmony of understanding between people. But there's only one small thing that we have to be now programmed for. We have to choose the program. We have to choose this program. It's ours. We have to realize that we can have compassionate and caring and kind discussions on topics that are difficult. We have to learn to accept that differences of beliefs will not change the fact that light from creative source is in everybody. Every single human being from the North Pole to the South Pole was created by the same divine source, no matter what you call it. God. God is all powerful. And his light is in everyone. Even the jerks. It's important for us to learn to have compassionate conversations on difficult subjects. It's important for us to learn to agree to disagree and look for the meeting of the minds in the mathematical set. You know, you got two circles. You got these two circles come together and they create the mathematical set. Right where my nose is, that's that's where we want to be focused. Where the two circles overlap. The things that we have in common. And as we begin to accept those and appreciate those in each other, we can expand that. So MK Ultra, mind control techniques, what are they? How do they work? I'm going to give you a real simple example. 9/11, when Bush went to Iraq, he began having a huge amount of feedback, negative feedback. Everybody was on the globe, the whole planet wanted him to get out of there. They didn't believe that we should be there, and I was one of those people that was fighting for that. So, what did the media do? They're part of the plan to mind control us all. You see, the media has huge influence on what we think about. But they have very little control on what we think. But they have far too much control on what we think about. So when Bush was on the front page of Iraq and he started getting a lot of heat, they moved him to page 4 and made tiny little stories about the war, which was the most important thing going on the planet. Guess what took front page? Michael Jackson holds a baby over the balcony. Front page. And Martha Stewart, she cooked up some insider trading. Went to jail. Front page. The sheep bit the bullet. The mindless zombies who've been programmed not to have any critical thinking bit the bullet. They stopped talking about the war and started talking about Martha and Michael. So easy to mind control people. Critical thinking has to be taught. And it begins with learning it yourself and teaching it to people around you. Being able to sit down with your best friend and have a disagreement and tell him to fuck off. And love him anyway. And still be best friends. You see, the whole political correct movement has created a bunch of wimps. Spineless, some of them academically brilliant. Spineless wimps. They're offended by anything and everything. The situation should be that we have to go back to the old, sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt me. We have to have some power in ourselves. Recognize the fact that that source of divine spark, that spark of divine, is inside everybody. Yourself included. So you have to have some power in that. And you have to accept the fact that not everyone has the same belief and opinion. Sticks and stones can break my bones, but names can never hurt me. People can, you know, I grew up and I was a wimp. I never learned how to stand up for myself for years. And I was tread upon because of that. And I became a thinker. And by thinking and researching, I've come to a greater understanding about a lot of things. And now, I can take that greater understanding, that wisdom. Wisdom is so much more powerful than academic knowledge. There's an awful lot of academically brilliant people who are as shallow as a mud puddle. And that's not a criticism, it's a fact. They're really good at retaining the dogma that they've been programmed into while they got their education. And the same situation is happening within the religions, all of them. Dogma. Dogma is no different than mind control. Because that spark of the divine's in every race, every religion. So if we had been taught the simple things, how to have a compassionate, kind conversation with somebody that you don't hold the same belief in, nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that at all. You may choose not to hang around with them, and that's fine, but you don't hate them. You'd never kill them. You'd never harm them. You just live your life and let them live theirs. You know, the mind control even infiltrated the, so we've mentioned the religions and the media, but it's infiltrated every aspect of our lives. We're indoctrinated in school, we're indoctrinated in religion, and we're indoctrinated in movies, and we're indoctrinated with sports. I'm going to let you listen to what William Cooper has to say on this. Here's Will.
That's why they pay athletes these fantastic salaries. I was listening to the radio the other day. They just contracted to pay one player on one team $6 million a year. Can you believe this?
And why is that?
It's the Roman circus. What does the emperor do when the people become restive? And when the people are asking questions, and when the people don't like the policies of the emperor, he sends them to the circus. He creates a circus. He builds a giant coliseum. And he begins to throw the Christians to the lions. And he has great chariot races and football games and basketball games, all to keep the idiots preoccupied with things that don't mean anything in the scheme of the entire world, so that they don't have the time to learn what the truth is, so they don't ever get smart enough to learn how they're being manipulated, so they don't ever question the emperor. That's why they pay a player on a football team or a baseball team $1 million or $2 million or $3 million a year. It is the Roman circus. I know men who don't know anything in the world except who plays third base for the Mets. And they think that's a great accomplishment. And they meet and pat each other on the back and bond and go have cocktails and talk about what this guy that plays third base for the Mets did in last night's game. It's sad. It's really sad.
Is there any room in a kind of society where these manipulations are not taking place for this type of entertainment or any type of entertainment at all?
If people understand that a game is a game, if people understand that nobody, no matter what they do, is worth paying $2 or $3 million a year for, people should be able to get rich if they want to, by the sweat of their individual labor, okay? By going out and doing something for the world. Not by taking people's minds away from the emperor. It's a game. Football's a game. Football's a game. But let me tell you something. When 150 of the most powerful men and women in the world can meet in secret in Baden-Baden, Germany, and plot the fate of billions, and nobody even cares about it, but 6 football players go to lunch together, and it's in the headlines across the country, you have a reflection of the society in which that exists. And it is a sick, sick society that is doomed to self-destruction.
So between me and William, I think that we have given you some food for thought. It's time. It's time for the masses to learn to critically think, learn to have difficult conversations with people without hate, learn to agree to disagree. We have to go back to some of the roots of the early mystics, the early Greek, Egyptian, and Indian philosophers. They understood metaphysics. They understood it deeply. And a percentage of the elite still do. And they hide that from us, and they won't encourage us to research or learn it, because if we did, if we all dug into metaphysics, I guarantee that critical thinking would be a result. It's deep. It's wisdom. We have to return to that. We have to return to the sacred. Throw the secret bullshit out the window. Transparency. Throw the whole doggone secret bullshit out the window. It's time for the sacred. Because that spark of the divine is in you, it's in me, and it's even in the jerks. It's even in the jerks. So we're at a point in history now where the future is ours to create. We are in control of where it's going to go. People wonder what the forecast is going to be. You know what? It's difficult. Because there is no past that's going to repeat itself anymore. That all ended on December 21st, 2012, the end of the Mayan calendar, was the end of the cycle of humanity. The early indigenous said that there was a fourth man that's on the planet and the fifth man's coming, and they said that the fifth man will learn to develop the skills and attributes of the shamans, the masters, the gurus, and the saints. John 14, 10 through 12, look it up, says the same thing. Different words, in a different format, says the exact same thing. John 14, 10 through 12. Who are the ones that are going to come to do more? Is it you? Is it me? Is it our offspring? Is it our friends and relatives around us? Is it the little kid around the corner? Who? These are amazing times. It's time that we expanded our consciousness to keep up with the light that's radiating so strong to so many people. And it's going to touch everyone. Light is exposing all the weeds in the garden, and all of them will be pulled. So here we are, we're in July of 2021. I predict that by 2024 things will start to smoothen out, and 𝓚𝓚𝓷𝓭𝓾 or something along those lines is coming along. I call it Tribalism. I did some moon talks 4 years ago, almost 5 now. And I had never heard of 𝓚𝓚𝓷𝓭𝓾, and just about everything in my moon talks kind of leads to that. So my intuition was bang on. I call myself the Twisted Light Worker because I've had shaman attributes all my life, and I'm just now claiming them. I've used them all my life, but I've kept quiet about it. Who are the ones that are going to do more? John 14, 10 through 12. The fifth man is coming. The fifth man is here, awakening. It's time. It's time to realize what MK Ultra and the mind control is, and how to combat it is so simple. Shine your light bright. Question everything. Question your own beliefs. Beliefs don't make a person. No matter what another person believes, they're still created by the same invisible power, and they're still having that spark of the divine, that light of creative source inside. Deep inside, we're all the same. If you and I were in a coffee shop and I had this conversation with you and we had just met, as I stood up to leave, would you offer to buy me a coffee for the information that I shared? You still can't. I put the link, buy me a coffee, in the description below. And make sure you check out the other links that I put in the description. All of them. All of them are pertinent for this time that we are now moving forward in. So I say to you, namaste. And what that really means, the really deep meaning is I honor you for that place in you where the universe resides. I honor you for that place in you of love, of light, of truth, and of peace. I honor you for that place in you, for when you are in that place in you and I am in that place in me, there is only one of us. Namaste.